Here.
Whatever. I don't know what you call them.
What's it?
In the mosque.
Here, it's Papias. Yeah, this is what I said. Papias. Yeah. Matthew had collected the oracles or sayings of Christ in Hebrew. How's it going, Idris, man? Leave him, George. Leave him, George. Because you asked me where I got this from, so here it is. Yes,
I don't want you to carry on talking because I'm going to end up being a Muslim. You know, be careful, I'm getting scared.
So then Matthew wrote the oracles.
Don't be scared.
Now you have to know what oracles mean as well, but in our own time. Yeah.
Who's
So Matthew,
this?
this is Papias, church father of.
What date? Is that
it is. But this is
He's
one.
what? First century.
This is actually it's 125 to 150 is when they say. Yeah. But this is one of the earliest statements that we have on the compilation of Matthew. And why?
Eusebius before him.
He got it from the
No,
elders.
Eusebius was later, and he quotes him.
He got it from the
and he
elders.
got it from. Oh my! This is why I need Idris next to me. And he quotes. It's a conflated sanad, isnad. He claims that he got it from John the Elder. John the Elder passed it down to someone, and it gets to Papias. Then it's quoted by Eusebius.
Yeah.
So it's a conflated isnad. But anyway, he said this is why the church fathers believe Matthew was the first one to be written. But read what it actually says. So then Matthew wrote the oracles. Now people have argued oracles, same as the word logia, because there's another statement about it, which means sayings. And this is why I told you that the Gospels, the Gospels evolved in four stages: the oral stage, the collection stage, the proto-gospel stage, and the gospel stage. So the first one was the oracles, or like you said, how do you pronounce it? Logia.
The word, the sayings.
The sayings, yeah. So in the Hebrew language, and everyone interpreted them as he was able.
Yeah.
So one second. I'll just make the point that I was asking. The Matthew we have, however, one, it's not written in Hebrew.
Exactly.
Now, one second. So the Matthew we have is not the Matthew that they were talking about was the first one written.
No.
In fact, the Matthew, one second, I'll build the argument properly, yeah? It is based, what we understand of the Matthew in the New Testament today is based on the synoptic tradition, which is that they're seen as the same. Optic meaning seen. Seen is like grouped together. Synoptic. What are the synoptic gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke. And then John is the other one, which is not the same. Irenaeus, I think he says, this is known as the spiritual gospel. So John does not fall in the synoptic gospels. Now when we study the synoptic gospels, we get the synoptic problem. And what is the synoptic problem? In Luke and Matthew. Remember, Matthew is supposed to be the first one, but the problem arises, Luke, Matthew, and Mark have words, ideas, and sequences of those in the same order. Now Mark, 80% of Mark is found in 40% of Luke, word for word. So it cannot be simply maybe it's an opinion. They're literally copying a document, and scholars believe that document is also it's a Q document, is also written on by paper. So they say the solution is there's two source theory and there's four source theory. So they're saying that Matthew and Luke is based on Mark, and they have another one which is called the double tradition, the Q source. Now if Matthew is the same as the Matthew Papias is saying, which Papias is saying is the first one, why is it that Matthew we have today is copying of Mark, which is not an eyewitness? And the one, no, this is what scholars say.
Yeah, that's
this is their argument. Now the Mark one, it says I think it's Papias as well. Yeah, if you want me to pull that out, I can pull that out. But I've shown you everything every time.
You're going too much.
Too fast.
And I can't take it anymore. No, we said good up to it. Let's hang it in there. You're very good.
So the Mark and Matthew we have today is not the Mark and Matthew they attested.
Let's go back. So he said it was in Hebrew, Matthew, yeah?
The oracles, or as you said, logia, which are saying.
The lawyer was written in Hebrew.
Lawyers, you said lawyer.
Lawyer, not
lawyer, you're saying it.
So now he said Matthew's written in Hebrew, yes?
Yeah.
Where is that manuscript? The oldest manuscript is in Greek.
Exactly. That's why this is arguing my point.
Wait a minute. So he's claiming
the one we have is Greek.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hang in.
Sorry, George.
The one written in... No. The one... I go on the roll and then he cuts me.
Man, you know what? I appreciate you in this conversation.
No, listen.
It's a nice conversation.
The one we're just talking, yeah? So he said it was written in Hebrew, but yet there's no Hebrew manuscript around. We don't know if there was a Hebrew manuscript. That Hebrew manuscript he's referring to is later.
Church
because
Father.
the Greek manuscript, what I know, they got fragment in Magdalene University in Oxford. And there's got fragment of it, and right early, or Kyrios, the Lord, they refer to Jesus. That's a big thing. That's very big. John Stanton book. Look it up, although it's been kind of refuted, but their manuscripts, hang in there. What happened in 70 AD?
Jerusalem was wiped out.
Don't you think they would have mentioned that in their manuscripts? That big event, if they were written later on. These are all written long before 70 AD. Or as they will mention all this demolition in Rome, isn't it?
Well, the scholars do suggest that.
No, forget what scholars say, man. I don't listen to scholars. But
Don't build your arguments, right?
this is very important. So, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Big event, demolish all of Jerusalem. They would have mentioned that in them documents. They don't mention it. Very quiet.
Okay, but what would be the point that you're suggesting
is,
here?
these were written down before 70 AD.
Okay.
All right, and we have fragments of them around.
Okay, let's go by
Hang in
this.
there.
Yeah.
The 2nd century.
So forget 2nd century. We're done. What?
Let's see what he says. Let's see. Sorry.
So my
Let's
point
see what
is-
his argument
My
is.
point is they're referring to a Hebrew document written in Hebrew, Matthew. That could be a Hebrew document dated later on, not there at that time.
Okay.
Now, what was the other thing you were talking about?
It was just logia or however you pronounce it. Yeah. So here, yeah. So your point was.
Watching. No.
You're a
But
Jim,
basically, it's a good point I'm saying. So these manuscripts must have been written before 70 AD.
So yeah.
And there are fragments, a lot of arguments to argue about it. So there was a church father, it's not Eusebius, it was someone else. Show me the Plymouth the Younger. Harold,
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, from John. This is the one.
what
Quote.
date is that? There was
Yeah.
one very,
He
very
gives the
early.
isnad which you are talking about goes to John there. The
Yeah, but
reply there.
they said that there's no reason why we shouldn't believe the Gospels, the names attributed to those Gospels.
Okay, let's deal with
were
one. Let's do.
genuine.